you ever had something small to do, like sending a quick email or putting away laundry? Instead of doing it, you just stare at it. You know it is not hard, you know it won't take long, yet there's this weird internal resistance that makes it feel heavier than it should. If you have ADHD, that feeling isn't rare. It shows up more often than you would like. What makes it more confusing is that you might be someone who handles big things well. You can manage complex projects. You can think strategically. You can show up under pressure. So when you find yourself avoiding something basic, it doesn't make sense. It starts to feel personal. If we haven't met, I'm Edie, a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner, and this is one of the most common frustrations I hear from high-functioning adults with ADHD. The issue isn't whether you're capable. Most people with ADHD are. The issue is task initiation. ADHD affects executive functioning, which is the system responsible for organizing, prioritizing, shifting attention, and getting started. When something feels interesting, urgent, or emotionally engaging, your brain can lock in. That's why you might hyper-focus for hours on a project that you care about. But when something feels repetitive, predictable, or dull, your brain doesn't generate the same internal momentum. The gap between knowing what to do and actually starting it gets wider. That's why a simple administrative task can feel harder to begin than something objectively more complex. It's not about difficulty, it's about activation. ADHD is closely connected to how dopamine functions in the brain. Dopamine plays a major role in motivation and reward. It helps the brain decide what is worth doing and when to do it. When dopamine regulation is lower or inconsistent, tasks that do not feel immediately rewarding can feel almost physically uncomfortable to start. That is why someone with ADHD might reorganize an entire room at midnight but avoid replying to a basic text message for days. It's not about effort, it's about what activates the brain. Simple tasks tend to lack urgency and emotional charge. Paying a bill, scheduling an appointment, clearing a counter. They don't offer immediate feedback or stimulation. For a brain that thrives on engagement, those tasks may feel flat. Over time, the delay adds another layer. Now there's frustration, maybe even embarrassment. Maybe that voice in your head asking why you haven't done it yet. That emotional weight attaches itself to the task, which makes starting it feel even heavier the next time you look at it. It stops being about the email. It becomes about what not sending the email says about you. This is where shame creeps in. You tell yourself it takes 5 minutes. You compare yourself to other people who seem to move through their day without this internal battle. You start questioning your discipline or your maturity. But shame doesn't improve executive functioning. It increases stress, which makes initiation harder. The more pressure you apply, the more resistance you feel, and eventually the pattern starts shaping how you see yourself. That's the part that hurts. Support for ADHD isn't about trying harder. It's about lowering the barrier to entry. This might mean breaking tasks down into something almost too small to resist, such as opening the laptop instead of writing an email, setting a 5-minute timer instead of committing to finishing a whole thing, sitting near someone while you start. For some people, therapy helps to unpack the shame and build practical systems. For others, medication helps regulate dopamine and smooth out task initiation. Often, it's a combination of therapy and medication. The goal isn't to turn yourself into someone else. It is to create conditions so your brain can engage without constant friction. If simple tasks feel disproportionately hard for you, that doesn't mean you're lazy or undisciplined. It means your brain responds differently to motivation and activation. It may mean your brain processes motivation differently. And once you understand that, you can stop fighting yourself and start building systems that actually work for you.